my name is Ariel Helverson, and this is a story about how Guatemala changed my life. For a month, I lived in one of the most beautiful places on earth. From my back door, I could see multiple volcanoes, a giant volcanic crater, and one of the largest lakes in the world, and the largest in Central America. Walking out of my backyard, I could walk straight into the lake, and it was over 1,000 feet deep at parts. I swam in that, and that's a special type of feeling. So this is a story about my mission trip in Guatemala. We were on Lake Adeline, and I was with 52 other Americans that I didn't know that well, to be honest. What I learned from the Guatemalan people will stay with me forever. Because before I went, I know that I was more petty, more selfish, and that I didn't understand that there was so much happiness around me. When I went, I finally started my change into becoming who I am today. And when I got home, I was able to apply what I learned to my everyday life. So let's go back to before I went. Before I went, I know I was more selfish and petty. I didn't understand that money isn't everything. And so, for example, I spent all my time working. I would work 50 hours a week while still being in high school. That left me no time for anything else. I thought that if I wasn't working all the time, my time was wasted. That was a mistake. But I didn't know it at the time. Second, I had huge family issues. As the middle kid out of a family with 10 kids, I was always looking for attention. I was focused on myself, and I didn't realize that my family had needs that I weren't meeting. It was all me, and not them, or us. And third, I had some issues with my friendships. My friendships were all competitive. I was jealous of them, they were jealous of me. We were always trying to get the one up on each other. But I did have a positive church relationship all throughout my life, and I was lucky enough to sign up for the Guatemala trip a year before I went. And so that leads me to going on the trip. Going on the trip was one of the best things I ever did, and I believe that it totally changed me into who I am today. So, for starters, going on the trip. The first thing I noticed with the Guatemalan people was that money meant nothing to them. These people, they had no money. They never had any money. Nobody that they knew had any money, and so it didn't matter. A lot of the people that I lived with, they lived on less than $2 a week. That's nothing for us. We live on more than $2 a day, every day, and we don't even realize it. And so for me, seeing that money didn't matter, as someone who had always held it in so high regards, it was a big game changer for me. It really shifted my goals and what mattered. Second, I was able to spend a lot of time in people's homes, and these people lived in tiny little houses, little 4x4 cement blocks, but they had their whole families living with them. They had their extended families and some of their neighbors and people in need. And what I was able to see was that these people weren't distracted by money. They weren't distracted by work. They weren't distracted by their phones. And they spent time together. They talked together and they supported each other. And that showed me how important family is. And that made me realize that I take it for granted. The last thing that I think that I noticed was that they didn't have technology. We spend so much time in this Western civilization in the United States on our phones, staring at a screen, looking at stuff that is detached from us, that is happening 1,000 miles away. And going there and not having that and just putting it down for a second allows me to open my eyes and see how much I have around me. If I didn't have my friends, my family, my dog, my house, what would I have? If I didn't have my phone, what would I have? I would still have everything. So going there without them, when they knew that they didn't have anything, that really helped me. And I didn't stay there forever. I stayed there for a month, and so I had to come back. And when I came back, it was kind of a shock to me at first, because I came back and everybody was still on their phones, and everybody was still taking things for granted, and stuff costed money, and people were working. And it made me step back and realize that used to be me. But who am I now? And I had to decide. And so I decided that I am a person who values family and values love and laughter and friendship. And so I started making changes. I deleted my social medias. I made sure that I had my phone away and that I was paying attention to the people that mattered to me. And here are the results that I saw. For example, with one of my best friends, I had a really good talk with her when we came back about how I wanted to just put away our technology and just talk to each other and not be in a race and not be competing at everything. And our friendship blossomed, and we were closer than ever. With my family, when I first got back, I was sitting in the living room, and they were all on their phones, and I was sitting there and I was thinking, wow, this is so different. And so I talked to them about it, and I said, look, I'm here. We're not always going to be together, and I want to talk while we have the chance. And ever since then, there's been less competing. There's been more focusing on each other and not on ourselves. Our society, where we live, is so individualistic, and I have realized that. And I've realized that for me, that is not how I want my life to be lived. I want to be lived with other people, the people around me. So to conclude that, I just wanted to say that my trip to Guatemala has totally changed me. I came from a little petty, selfish girl, and I went and I saw people who had nothing, but they had everything, and they were happy, and my values just got totally rearranged. And I came back and I started morphing into who I am today, which I hope is a more selfless and modest person. So that is my story. Thank you for listening.